All right, gonna go to a really he's kind of an okay content creator. Um, you know, he has a few people that watch him, I guess. Uh, he has room for improvement. No, I'm just playing. It's a one and only Mike O. And man, let's see this new one that he put up 2 days ago because I haven't had a chance to see it yet. So let's see what this sick one's about because you know they're
Hey
always
you, and
gross.
welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video, what I want to do is take you on a journey of self-discovery. Not mine. Who knows how this video will turn out. No, it's for the people in this story, and it's really a story about beliefs. Beliefs in things greater than yourself, like maybe, I don't know, pieces of paper. Well, one person in this story was obsessed with, and I mean like to the max, obsessed with tarot cards. Whatever the card says, it goes, so buckle up. It is to Westminster we go, located in Colorado, and
man.
there, a young woman named Lea Porter, she moved there, you know, to start fresh, to start again. But it went rotten, like, real quick. So, right, I kind of think that about does it. This story's wild, so let's give it a go.
It's pretty far north from here. Say a good 20-30 minute drive.
So this whole story takes us to the city of Westminster. Big C. The camera's reversed, so should I be doing it? Big CO.
Great things are definitely going downtown, with businesses opening up in downtown Westminster.
It's in
What's been
central
open up?
Colorado. Really, it's part of the Denver metro area and is home to over 100,000 people, if you can believe that. It's a place where, if you're looking for a job making jars, you can get one. The Ball Corporation is there, along with other high-tech shenanigans, and it's a fast-growing city. You better keep up. Though, that kind of comes with, you know, crime rates also growing, so boo earns. But you know what, overall, it's nice, it's safe, it's friggin' lovely, so it is, lads, I'm mad about it. My new favourite place. Now enough about that, who cares? What we do care about is the story of Lea Porter, who went missing in the city of Westminster in the year 2014. See, Lea wasn't long in Westminster. She just arrived and things went off the rails pretty quickly. Wrong crowd sort of deal. You know, when some people, they'll approach you as your friend, and it turns out they got some pretty evil shit behind them, like real sick shit. But who was Lea Porter? I'll answer that for you now. Lea Porter was born in 1994, the younger sister to older brother Max and daughter of Renee Jackson. She grew up in Cotopaxi, southern Colorado, about 3 hours from Denver, and a blink and you'll miss it sort of place. If you're not there for the whitewater rafting along the Arkansas River, you're surely there for the Cotopaxi General Store / gas station / restaurant. Honestly, it looks beautiful, but I think you can understand why Lea would want to be out of there. Lea and Max, they were like glue. They were like two things that stick together really well. I can't think of anything right now, but they were like that. He was protective of her, and he always kept an eye on his little sis. They both attended Cotopaxi High School, a very small school for a very small population in a very big place. The mountains are big, the sky is big, and Lea had a big personality. She liked school, well, she liked the social aspect of it anyway. The hit the books part, maybe not so much, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Which in her case, you know, like mine, and probably a lot of yous, means you're just gonna do enough to get by and that's it. Not just me, our education system needs to be updated for the modern world, come on guys. Lea was outgoing, friendly, warm, gregarious, and she had many friends. She was popular wherever she went, and generally just got on. She was a people person. Lea didn't always have like the best judgment, but you know what? She always had older brother Max to fall back on. He would be there if she got, you know, in too deep, in too much trouble. He would always be there and have her back. But in 2013, Max, he graduated, you know, community college. He got his degree. He got his degree in massage therapy, and he left town. See, the Porters were originally from California, and I guess he was going back home to start up a business there. And Lea, you know, who always looked up to him, she went to the same college he did. She did the same course in massage therapy that he did. The plan was, you know, he went back to California to set up a massage kind of, you know, therapy business, and the plan was that she, once she got her own degree, would join him in said business. But That's not what happened. See, she started getting a little bit depressed in college, away from her brother, her friends, her life that she had left behind. Now, it is common enough, I would say, for people who move away for school and for college to get depressed being away from their home. But with her, it was really bad. It struck her a little bit harder than most. She was now in this town called Trinidad in Colorado, and there's not really a whole lot going on there, so Lee was probably just staring at the four walls most of the time. But it was there that she met a guy. I hear doves? Yeah, I hear him, guys. More like... what's like a shitty bird? That's the sound, I gotta put it in there. His name was Jesse, and he seems like he just walked out of a Limp Bizkit concert in 1997.
I'm trying to record.
In his mind, he probably did, because he was in his 30s. Lee was 18 years old, alone, naive, vulnerable. So this winner made a dog's dinner of Lee's entire plans. She stopped going to class, she moved in with this all-star, and then it turned out that this Jesse was a bit of a fiend for the LH dog. Heroin. She then dropped out of college. She still had the debt for paying for college, and she had an addiction now. So things kind of spiraled. We're spiraling. Shockingly, it turned out this guy kind of sucked. Who could have known? They would fight, and now with no college, no family or friends around her, and a shitty boyfriend, Lee decided to leave.
Man, this is sad. This is making me all depressed and stuff. It's like... well, it's those assholes wannabe alpha male types that usually have the courage to go up to, a beautiful woman and, hit or miss. They don't give a shit. The nice, quiet guy. It's going to take him some time to move in and, to show like, man, this dude is going to bend over backwards for you, but he's not going to be a stepping mat. He's going to provide for you, but he's not going to, spoil you. Now, he may spoil you, but he's no dummy. You know what I mean? He's going to be a good all-around person, good man, teach you work ethics, things of that nature, while this asshole is probably waking up every single morning wondering, where am I going to get the money to get me and my girl's next high? Where am I going to get the money to get my high and then get her high? Or who knows? I mean, that just... and then Trinidad's such a small fucking... sorry, excuse my language. It's a small little place. I mean, Tom Cruise bought like a freaking $31 million mansion, and it's probably like... Trinidad's probably about as big as his mansion. No, it's not that big. But he bought a mansion down there that he didn't even freaking live in or even go and visit. As far as I know, I don't keep up with celebrity shit. It was just on the news that he lowered it to sell it because of how the economy's going. And so Trinidad is really like... there is one thing that Trinidad is well known for. It was, and it still may be, but it was during the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, the number one place in the world for sex, for gender reassignment, sex change operations. I don't know if there's still number one in the world for that, but that was Trinidad.
All she got out of the deal was a heroin addiction and a mountain of debt. So it was in early June 2014 that Lee upped and she left. She went to where I was talking about at the very beginning, if you do recall, the city of Westminster. It's really always hard not to call it Westminster. I can just automatically say that. Almost immediately, she went missing. Max, he couldn't get through to her. And even though he lived on the coast, he had kind of been in constant contact with her, and Lee's mother had kind of been kept in the dark about exactly what Lee had been going through during her time in college, and how things were just not great for her. But when he told her all about this, worry spread like wildfire. Lee's mother, Renee, she still paid for her phone bills, so she had access to who Lee had last been speaking to before she went missing. The last she'd been heard from was on the 3rd of June, and there was 2 numbers that were at the very bottom of the list as the last ones she had called. So Renee, she called up these 2 numbers, who had Lee last been speaking to before she stopped speaking to anyone. One was a hotel just outside Denver. It turned out that Lee and Jesse, they'd spend the night together on the 2nd of June in a hotel room. So that was Lee, I guess, had called to make the booking. The other number she called was to a guy named Christopher Chris Wade. He said she had been to his place on the 3rd of June, and he lived in Westminster. Lee had gone to Westminster without really knowing anybody there and any plans or where she was going to stay. So Chris, he said he spoke to Lee and offered, hey, you want to crash with me? Go ahead. Now, the reason Chris knew Lee and how they had actually begun contacting was that Christopher Wade was Cotopaxi represent. He was a local. He went to school with Max and with Lee. He was a homeboy of the Porters. Now they didn't exactly know each other super well, but Facebook friends or whatever, like acquaintances. Chris told Renee that, Lee, she was living out of her car, so he had offered her like a place to crash, rest those dogs. But they hung out for a couple of hours, and then she was off again to parts unknown. Chris, he was a sharp cookie. He did well in school. After school, he joined up with the military, and now he was studying criminal justice in Denver. Don't they always study criminal justice? Bit of a, like one of these, a weird an odd guy. I mean, come on, just look at him. Would you feel comfortable around this man? I wouldn't drink anything he gave me. Let's put it that way. Renee, she called the police. She told them about both Chris and Jesse. So Chris Wade, talking to the police, he said he got in touch with Lee when she had made a Facebook post asking, hey, anybody have a place to crash? And he'd replied to her message saying, yeah. She came over, they hung out, they went and they got a bite to eat, and then she got some kind of text. Chris didn't know from who, and she left. She got in a white van or a white truck with some stranger, and off she went. Now, Lea Porter's car was still near his house, all her belongings inside. Now, parts of his story could be validated because Lee's car was in his car park, so she definitely had arrived to his place, but, Chris was saying she left with somebody else. He had no idea who and never heard from her again. Okay.
Porter's family hired a private investigator who says they've pinpointed 4 search locations, all bodies of water, based on the pings from Porter's cell phone. They plan to take the cadaver dog teams to those areas with the hope of finding Lee.
Say a prayer for her. Ask God to help us find her. And that will help me.
A search began for Lee. The posters went up, checking everywhere in Westminster. Max, he flew in from California to help with the search. The 2 people the police were looking at were Jesse and Chris. Jesse, though, was pleading his innocence. In fact, at the time, he was in Maryland at a drug rehabilitation center. He may well have been with Lee on the 2nd of June, but by the time Chris says he saw Lee, Jesse was out of state. The police could pretty quickly back up his alibi and stuff, that whatever happened to Lee happened after he had left. Days would go by with no word on where Lee had gone and with whom.
We already know where this is pointing.
Had she even gotten into had she even been with Chris? Like, we have no confirmation anything about his story is true. And Chris would speak with KCNC, Colorado's news channel. What is Chrissy boy? Watch it, Chrissy. What does he have to say?
Overall, she seemed pretty depressed, and while she was smiling, it didn't really go to her eyes. So that kind of was weirding me out to see her like that.
So, riddle me this. Have you ever seen a man's mind go 1,000,000 miles a minute? Well, you're about to.
Yeah, she said she was tired and she just wanted to crash, so I said okay. And I found some of her drugs and confronted her about it that night. Then shortly afterwards, she took off. And I didn't really think much of it. I thought she was just angry at me because I was playing the part of the concerned friend.
Riddle me this. Number 2, Is this a normal thing to say? Because I don't think it is.
I don't really have very many friends, but the friends I do have, I'm very loyal to. So even losing one is a heavy blow for me.
Oh my God! Wow.
What an odd man.
I'd say to her that I'm sorry that that if she thought that I was angry at her for doing drugs, but I want her to be safe, and I want her to know that I want the best for her.